Alright, it's Sunday, back out here again. It rained like it only does in North Carolina last night, so I think we got an inch or two of rain kind of out of nowhere. But my brother, he came back today and he's out mowing again, which is great. I just got the excavator fueled up and I'm going to head out there as well to attempt to deal with the beaver dam. I don't know if I can get in there. This thing weighs 19,000 pounds. It has tracks, but they're not that big, so I'm concerned it's going to sink. Plus, it rained a lot last night, so we'll be moving into that area very kind of gingerly to make sure that we can get back out. If this doesn't work, at some point I'll spend some time, get the big excavator back up and running and take that down there. It weighs a lot more, 55,000 pounds versus 19,000 pounds, but it has huge tracks on it, so comparatively it spreads the load over a much bigger area. It has just really big grouser pads on it, and it just wouldn't sink nearly as easily as this one would. So we'll see how this goes. But it's a long trek out there. It's about 3/4 of a mile. This thing only does about 3 miles an hour, so it's gonna take some time. All right, so we've approached our first challenge in order to be successful at what we're trying to do today. This is the hill that goes up into the back pasture. Probably doesn't look that steep on the camera, but it is. It's probably 30-40 feet from top to bottom, and it rained last night, like I said, and this red dirt clay turns into axle grease. So we'll see how this goes. Hopefully I don't have to try to use advanced hill climbing techniques using the bucket, because I've never done that before, although that would be a good skill to learn. But we'll see how it goes. It's pretty greasy out here. Hopefully I can get up this no problem. Alright, it's going alright so far. Actually almost through the really greasy part. Up here it gets pretty gravelly. Got it on slow track mode so that we can get a little more torque going up the hill. Not worry about speed. It's kind of bumpy through here, so we're gonna go real slow. I'm actually now a little more concerned about going back down this hill with how greasy it is. Probably have to use the bucket to slow our descent as we slide down the hill. Is most likely what's going to happen. I've slid down this hill, and I think every vehicle, trucks, tractors, skid steer, when it's like this, it's just straight grease. But looks like we're going to make it, no problem, which is good. So we still have about, I'd say 1/3 of a mile across this field to get to where the beaver dam is, and we are just cresting the top of the hill now. And you can see there's my brother off in the distance in the tractor, and he's finished up this side of the field all the way back to the tree line. That's all nice and cleared, and now he's going down the other side of the field. He has one wing up. Maybe he's actually done. We'll see. Alright, I just checked in with him. It sounds like needs a little maintenance, low on gear oil, so he's off, headed back to grease it and put some gear oil in the main gearbox. Tractor's a little low on diesel, but we don't have any of that at the moment, so now that he's done so much mowing, you can see, we had our 14-year-old out here earlier in the summer doing some clearing, and here's all these piles of trees that she pulled down. So here, another one down there, and there's a little one there, and this big one here. And so she cleared pretty much everything you see as I scroll around the field. She cleared all that earlier this summer. So that's pretty sweet. We still got a long way to go, but that makes a huge difference around here. So like I said, I still got about 1/3 of a mile to go to get to the beaver dam, and then we'll see how it goes. All right, I thought there's a good spot right here to kind of show this, so I thought I would show just the evolution of this pasture and what I was talking about earlier in the video, and how it kind of goes through these flushes of the seed bank. So behind me, if you see behind me, and I'll turn this around just a second, this is what the field looked like when we bought the farm. So briars, there's some pigweed mixed in there, but it's mostly briars, which is for the most part like wild blackberry thorn bushes. And then there's pine trees, and there's a bunch of gum trees in there too. So let me turn the camera around and I'll show you. Okay, and so this is what the entire farm looked like, not just the back pasture, but the entire farm. It was either completely overgrown with small pine trees and gum trees, which there's some in here if you see them, and then the rest, everywhere in between, was these impenetrable 8 to 10 foot tall briar patches mixed in with some pigweed. This is what we're starting with. And then we came in, not all of it, we got a long way to go, but we came in and we're mechanically removing that stuff. So we're either mowing it down, which is the most ideal thing to do, is to mow it down and put that carbon back into the soil, mow it down before it goes to seed. Or in the case of the trees, because we've been destroying too much equipment by trying to chop it all up, our 14-year-old has been coming through and pulling all the trees out, which is really a monumental task. There's thousands of trees out here, and that's pretty crazy. But this patch right here in front of me, and I'll turn the camera around in a second, this patch was cleared last summer, so just over a year ago. And you'll see that there's some grass, mostly the orchard grass coming in, but it's for the most part pigweed. And so you can see there's some orchard grass in there, but all these yellow flowers, this is all pigweed all the way through there. And you can see all the way up around the Serengeti tree, it's all yellow flowers everywhere, and we haven't cleared back here yet. That's all still pine trees. And so the grasses are starting to come back in, but the first flush of seeds in the seed bank always seems to be this pigweed. This is the stuff that comes up first. And so then we come through and we mow it before it goes to seed. And that way we don't have that issue of the pigweed reseeding itself and coming back. So we kind of burn it out and give the grasses a chance to overtake the field, and then we don't have to really deal with that anymore. And we're at least for us, for our purposes, we're restoring the pasture back to what we need to get out of it, which is grasses and legumes, without having to do very costly things like, you know, plowing and disking and cultivating and seeding and fertilizing this whole pasture and the whole farm, and also kind of environmentally not great things as well. Every time you turn that soil over, you really do a lot of harm to it. And we're able to get those grasses back. So, but it takes time, and thankfully for us, we have a little bit of time on our hands. I'm going to turn the camera around again, and then I'll show you this one little strip here, because the rest of it's mowed, but this one little strip that was done 2 years ago. Okay, so you see right past the excavator here, it's a trail that goes down towards the beaver dam, so we're just about there. But this was cleared 2 years ago, or 2 summers ago, so a little over 2 years ago, and you can see there's almost no pigweed at all. It's almost completely grasses, and those grasses are very tall, 4 to 5 foot tall. It's really gone too far as feeding it to cattle, but that's because we don't have any cattle right now, and so it's not a big deal. And if it goes to seed, that's actually great. That's just going to put more seeds back in the seed bank of the type of things that we want. So, you know, if you're in a hurry, this method isn't going to be for you. But it is really the best method you can use, in my opinion, for regenerative farming to bring it back to where we want it to be, which is a nice, lush, grassy, and legume pasture. And I mean, just look at this. There's such diversity in here of grasses and legumes that it's just great. And if we continue to take care, we get some cattle out here that eat it and fertilize it with their manure, it'll sustain itself. Not only will it sustain itself, it'll enhance and regenerate the soil underneath. Now this part of North Carolina doesn't have much topsoil. You know, we might have a half an inch or an inch of topsoil, and then it's just red dirt clay under there. So, you know, getting more organic matter into the soil and generating more topsoil, building topsoil is what we're trying to do here. And that takes the rest of my life and another lifetime after that. But that's what we're trying to do. So that's a little bit of a, as best as I know it, a lesson on grass and pastures and what we're doing on this farm. Okay, so we made it down here. The beaver dam is right there in front of me, and the creek is now running around the beaver dam and through the field underneath all this grass, and it continues. The creek's over here, you can see, and it's very full because it rained last night. And there are either 2 or 3 more beaver ponds, beaver dams and ponds downstream on my property. So that's why it's backed up so much. It's not flowing like it should. But I'm gonna do some Let's Dig 18 testing with the bucket as I inch through here to make sure it's ground's hard enough for me to get in there. I don't want to get stuck. Again, this thing weighs 19,000 pounds. And my goal is to be able to clear out the beaver dam and drain this all off. My tree stand for hunting is in here. I can't get in there, and I really just want to reclaim this part of the property anyway. I don't see the tree that my tree stand was in. It looks like maybe the beavers have actually taken it down. So that would be unfortunate and expensive, because I imagine my tree stand would have been destroyed in the process, but we'll see. Let's just see if we can get in here even to take out the beaver dam. We'll see how that goes. So far, I'm feeling a bit encouraged because even here it's really wet and we're not sinking. So we're gonna inch forward and see what happens. Okay, so now we're in here close. You can see what's going on. Here's the beaver dam. There's all the water backed up behind it. Here's the original creek channel right here. And there's actually water flowing underneath the excavator, if you can see it right there. And over here. So the creek is actually flowing right through here now. And then out across the field. That's not where it should be flowing. So we're gonna dig this out and restore this to be what I need it to be. Maybe not what the beavers want, but that's what I need it to be. And all I have with me is my phone today, so I'm probably not gonna be able to show you as I'm digging it out, because I would need 3 hands to run the 2 to run the excavator, 1 to hold the phone. But once I take a big old scoop out of there, I'll show you what's going on. All right, here we go. That water is draining out very rapidly. I imagine the other beaver ponds downstream are gonna flood pretty bad. But they're in a spot in the property where it's kind of out of the way, so it's not as big deal to have those ones. I think long term, like there's 3 more beaver ponds upstream from this one. Long term, we're actually going to come in with the excavator and turn them into real legitimate ponds, and just have staggered kind of stepped ponds down this stream across the property. That way we have a lot of, like, a really great water supply. But I need them to be organized, not just haphazard and random as the beavers seem to put them in here. One of the other things, I don't have any, I wish I had some pictures or some video, and I'll try to take some this fall. We have river otters, quite a few of them that live in this stream as well. So, you know, there's a lot of habitat here, and I'm not trying to destroy nature's habitat. I just need it to work with me and not against me. So some of it's good, some of it doesn't work for us. But yeah, that water is rushing out pretty quick, and I'm gonna go ahead and take as much of the rest of this out as I can that I can reach from here. I'm definitely not going in any further. All right, I did sneak in here a little bit further so I could get just a touch more that I could reach. And that's probably about 8 feet of the dam that's been taken out, and you can see just how much the water level has already come down. But there is probably 10 acres of flooded land here that's gonna have to get drained out, and that's gonna take some time. I can guarantee you the beavers already know this has happened because they're very aware of their water level in their ponds, and they will be out here within probably an hour of me, maybe even less, a half an hour of me getting out of here with the excavator, and they will start rebuilding this dam. I imagine it won't take them long. It's crazy how quickly they will rebuild these things. I wouldn't be surprised if in a couple days, 2-3 days, that this dam is built right back, which is very frustrating. I'll have to keep coming out here, and at some point we'll have to find a more permanent solution. But for now, we're gonna get this water out of here, which is great. And so it's already come down, I don't know, probably a good 1.5 feet just in this area. But you can see, I don't know if you can see up in there, all these little feeder streams. This whole area has to drain out, and that's a lot of water. It's a lot of water. This is a good start. I'm going to get out of here before I can't and move on to something else. I don't know how much more we're going to do today, but we're probably just going to work on doing the maintenance on that mower, and maybe just hanging out a little bit. We haven't been doing much of that. We've been either full force on baby the last few months, or we were gung-ho on trying to get ready for that barn build. So it'll feel pretty good to maybe just sit around and chat for a few hours, but we'll see. Definitely lots of minnows in here. I can see them splashing around and shooting down the little creeks. Those beavers, they create an amazing ecosystem. It's, you know, they're kind of like the first ones in. They're the early adopters, I think you would call it in the tech world. They come in and they create that environment for everything else to live, which is great. Again, we need some sort of balance here. It can't just be the whole farm gets taken over by beavers. So all right, well, we'll come back at the end and wrap up this video. All right, we're back at the hill. So now we're gonna go down the hill, and you can see it is almost completely turned into axle grease. My brother came through here with a tractor, and so it squished more of it up. And usually where we start sliding is right about here. No matter what vehicle we're in, that's about where the sliding happens, and you slide down the hill. So we're gonna try to make this as orderly as possible. We'll see how it goes. All right, we made it down the hill. No really anything, no excitement at all. So that went pretty smoothly, which is great. It is getting really greasy out here though. But I thought I would show you what runs underneath this this path right here. So here's the creek that actually feeds those beaver ponds that we were just at. So you can see there's a lot of water flowing through there. And this is just a different spot on the farm a little further up. And that flows down the hill here, and then right down the hill through this ravine. There's a ravine that runs here, a wooded ravine, right at the bottom of that. It converges with another stream that comes from the other part of the farm out front. And so you actually have two streams coming together, and that's where the beaver dams and the ponds start, is down the hill over here in the woods. And with the amount of rain that North Carolina gets, generally around 4 feet a year, or just under 4 feet a year, and this year we're 10 inches above normal, it's a lot of water. A lot of water flows off this property, and for the most part, like you're a farmer, you need water, you need rain, but we need to keep it moving, a lot of it moving. We want to keep some of it around, but we really need to keep it moving. So, all right, I still have half a mile to go, and that's going to take a while. Okay, I thought since I was driving by, I would stop and show you one of the beauty spots on the farm. This is what we call Sycamore Hill. That's a gigantic sycamore tree at the top of the hill. And we cleared this field. We started clearing it 2 years ago, finished up clearing it last summer, and you can see there's still a patch of pigweed up at the top of the hill, but look at the grass right outside. Look at how thick and tall and diverse that grass bank is. That's just wonderful. But yeah, I just thought you might want to see Sycamore Hill. On a clear day, that tree, that hill, and the Carolina blue sky, it is just one of the most gorgeous places on the farm. We have lots of pictures of it, so we'll pop a few up here so you can see what it looks like on a really clear day. Alright, I'm going to continue on. Alright, it's the end of the day. I thought I'd come back out here and show you the aftermath of taking out the beaver dam, because it looks wildly different than it did. So let me flip the camera around and I will show you what it looks like. This is about three hours later. There we go. So there's still water draining out of here. Can't really move around too much because it's lots of soupy mud everywhere, but you can see the water's still running off. So it is still draining off this whole parcel here that was all backed up with water. There's little streams flowing in everywhere. This is the main creek channel. You remember the water was all the way up to the top of the grass here, all the way across. And now it's gone. And it's come down probably, well, if we look at like 3 feet. And it's just a nice flowing stream now. Doesn't look like the beavers have been here yet. Maybe they've swum downstream and taken a look at it, but they haven't. I don't see any beaver tracks or anything, so they haven't formulated a plan yet. And there you go. That's what happens when you take out a beaver dam. That drained off pretty quick, but also I think it's gonna rain again tonight, and it's going to take, it's just so wet. It'll probably take a week or two with no rain for all that water to drain out of that area. It's just really soupy, muddy down here. But I thought that'd be a good way to wrap up this video. Didn't really do much else, just hung out with my brother. We did some country folk things, just hung out. I thought that would be a good way to wrap things up so you could see the aftermath of taking out a beaver dam. So that's it for this weekend. I don't know if the builder's coming back next week or not. I don't know if he finished up his other job, so we're kind of on hold there. But once he does get back, that building should go up pretty quick, and things are going to really start moving around here. It's going to be pretty awesome. So appreciate you tuning in and watching the video. Life's an adventure. Let's keep it that way.